Upbeat and catchy songs are helping youth learn the Anishinaabe-Moan or Ojibwe language. Sherri, Joy, and Dave share their stories and language learning journeys through Nagamoodaa.
My name is Sherri Shorting, and I'm from the Little Saskatchewan First Nation. It's a small community here in Manitoba. A lot of people tend to think it's in Saskatchewan. It's not. And I grew up in a family of 5 with my parents and 2 other sisters. I had a brother who had passed away as a baby, so it was just the 5 of us. And I grew up in the community. Very fortunate that I wasn't one of the residential school survivors, but I was a day school survivor. My dad was as well. And so I guess one of the reasons why, I wanted to become a part of the group Nagamoodaa was because growing up, my dad never taught us the language. He didn't want us to learn the language. I guess because of how he was treated in school. And he would tell us, stories of how he would be beaten, for speaking the language. And, how I would see the scars in his head. He would show us the scars. And I remember myself being in a day school. Not knowing that I was in a day school was, I don't know, I just thought I was in school. I never knew growing up. I never knew our history of residential schools, of day schools. I never knew history, I guess, is something I'll say. We were taught history through different eyes. We weren't taught the actual history of what my people lived. And I didn't honestly know until I was a teenager, which is kind of crazy, to know that everything had happened and then realizing that you were a part of history is kind of scary. So I grew up kind of not knowing my identity. I didn't know who I was, not being able to speak my language, not knowing my culture. That was something, again, that my dad didn't teach us. We weren't allowed to learn about powwows. We were taught that they were wrong. My great-grandfather still practiced the traditional medicines so that when people were sick, they would come to my grandpa. He had recipes for children with cold in their teeth, women who were sick, anything. He would go out and you would tell him exactly what was wrong and he would go and get the right medicines and make it for you. My dad was always, he kept, he's an avid hunter. So he kept that culture alive with, the hunting and the fishing. And because we had no brothers, we were the ones that were taught, which was really cool. I know how to snare a rabbit. And he taught us how to trap. He would take us hunting for ducks and geese and deer. So it was pretty cool growing up in the community doing those things. I came to Winnipeg when I was 14, I believe, for high school, because in our school, once you hit grade 9, that was it. You finished grade 9, and then you'd have to go somewhere else to finish school. My dad and mom didn't want me to go to the local community or local town, which was Ashern. They found me, I guess they had friends here in the city that had a home, and they had a local high school. So I attended high school out here. And it was so weird because I'm grateful that I had parents that let me, we traveled all the time and we'd come to the city frequently because we have family here. But to actually live here and not really know the city, you know what I mean? I'd come here so many times, but I didn't know how to get around. And I made friends and we'd come out, hang out. And wow, it was, I saw how Native people were treated. And I kind of felt ashamed to be Native at times because I saw how we were treated. I remember being in high school, how the young white boys would be disrespectful towards me for being Native. And I didn't know who I was. So that was really troubling. My line of work has always been with childcare. I worked with social services, actually. I had worked with Child and Family Services for so many years, from right when I was 18 years old. And it was a really good line of work. I've always loved that area of my job. Today, it's still the same. I now work for Jordan's principal. And in that line of work, I had an incident that had happened for an agency, and I quit. I couldn't handle the stress. It was a really rough time. So one day I was on Facebook and I saw Indigenous language program for Red River. They were offering Ojibwe. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. So I enrolled and I got accepted. And I met Joy, Dave, Gil, and a few other students in this class. And the whole idea of this class was to teach the program. And in Indigenous languages, they were teaching us how to introduce Ojibwe to kids in school. So we were learning how to teach, how to plan, learning how to write different things for storytelling, puppetry, poems, songs. And we wanted to go from there. They wanted us to translate songs that had already been, nursery rhymes and stuff like that had already been written in English. They wanted us to translate them into Ojibwe, and we wanted to do our own thing. I can't explain how it was when I was in that class, though, but it felt like home. It felt like in that course, I was starting to realize who I was. Because we were not only learning the language, we were learning land-based learning. We were learning traditional teachings, like how to set up a teepee. I didn't know there's a way that you have to set up a teepee. And there's certain poles that have to go up first, then it has to be set in a specific direction. We were taught how to build a sweat lodge. We were taught how to pick the medicines. I was really grateful for that. And we as Nagamoodaa, eventually we want to branch out Ojibwe into Cree, and then Cree, Dene, so forth. We want to do that. We want to expand, and we want to just focus our attention on our youth, because that's our future. It's very hard for me to learn now. Even today, I have learned a lot more as far as the language goes. And writing music helps in our language, so it's been really good. I have 2 little girls that I call them my guinea pigs. When we have something new, I try it on them. I got to see if our songs are going to work with kids. So I sing them, I sing these songs to my girls first, and they really like them. And at nighttime, when I tuck them in, I sing to them. And a lot of the times it's our Ojibwe songs. So I'm really thankful. Our music has done really well. We've sold it across Canada and the US, and I want to just keep going with that. I want to, be able to have this, to do presentations across Canada and the US as a group. And I want to put my whole focus into this as a future business, and keep that music out there. If the Wiggles can do it, if Dora can do it, I think Nagamoodaa can do it too. And, one of the communities told me that I think it was way up north, St. Teresa Point, that their children knew more Spanish than they did their own language. So to hear that, I have all of these ideas that I want to just, I want to use to encourage our youth to have our language in their homes, to learn. So I have all these business ideas brewing in my head. It's just a matter of sitting down with the group one day and figuring out how we're going to do all that.
How do you feel things are going with Nagamoodaa? I know with COVID and everything, it kind of slowed everything down for you. How does it feel to finally have the group back together?
Oh yeah, it was great today. Actually, we were talking about how good it felt to be back together again, and how we realized how much we missed each other. But Gil Keeper, he was our 4th member, and even now, like even, just being the three of us, I can still hear him, so I know he's here with us in spirit. And he's one of my biggest reasons why I keep pushing for our group to stay together and to keep moving forward, because he was completely, this was his life. This was Gil's life. This is what he wanted, and this is what I want to pursue in honor of my friend, is this vision that he had together. And he actually has a little puppet that he made as part of our project, and it's like a little tiny Sasquatch, and we wanted to use it as our mascot for the group. Boomer. He calls him Boomer. So one of these days, I know his family has it right now, but I'd love to have Boomer back as part of our group to do presentations in the schools with the kids, to engage them. And from here on end, as far as our music group goes, I just want to continue moving forward and keeping Gil's vision alive with ours.
On this journey of language that you've been on, what have been some of the most fulfilling or meaningful moments that you've found through it?
Seeing how engaged the kids are when we come out and we sing. I just did a presentation by myself back in February for the Strathcona School, and I sang all by myself, and the kids were so engaged, and just watching them and seeing how they were intrigued with what I was singing. And then there was, non-native kids even listening, and they were engaged. And it was the greatest feeling was just being able to, knowing that I'm bringing these songs to them, and that they're catchy and they're fun. So knowing that I'm bringing this to them so that they can carry on one day is something that makes me proud. We have a Facebook page, Nagamoodaa. It's Nagamoodaa. They can find us there. They can send us messages. We're working right now on a new webpage so that we can expand more. You can also find our album there, and you can purchase it from there. And, we're always checking our page and keeping things updated. So, yeah.
Multicultural is located on Treaty 1 territory, the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis.